Don't know why this takes so long. Linda, how you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you, Sam?
I'm excellent. Better than I deserve, that's for sure. Oh boy, that's a Dave Ramsey thing. He always says that. Every time I've heard somebody ask him how he's doing, he says better than I deserve. Um, and
I don't know. I say you deserve pretty good. So,
yeah, and then when I think about it, it's like, no, you know what? I deserve everything there is out there. So, but we were talking this morning a little bit, and what kind of topic we wanted to have, and it just seems like a lot of people are in a season of indecision, changing, going in different directions. What am I going to do with this part of my business? What am I going to do with this part of my life? And I think we go through seasons like that.
we do. And I think, especially in our age group and older, what was modeled for us is you pick something and you stuck with it.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Come hell or high
we've,
water.
and we found over time that you don't have to do that. And
Right.
so sometimes having that choice when things are feeling a little let it out of kilter. It's
Hmm.
nice. And there's a difference between changing because you're feeling that it's the right time and changing because you're just bailing on something because
Yeah.
you don't want to keep struggling through.
Yeah.
And so it
Yeah.
depends on the reason for why you want the change.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those. Um, this is too hard, or I've got, I really don't want to do the work, whatever, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever. If you're bailing for those reasons, as opposed to it is a season of change,
right.
and we both hinted to this before we came on, but I'm in a season of looking at uh, changes to the financial coaching business. Now, uh, I have had a fair amount of success with my clients, with the clients who will do the work,
Right.
and with the clients who you have to. Um, and there's a lot of hand holding and guidance with some folks because they've never understood finances. They don't understand that money is currency and current flows, and they don't understand that whole concept. And so uh, and so there's a frustration. Um, but we were talking about a couple different people earlier, and one, now my guess is they're just very, very busy and haven't been able to get back. And the other uh, has taken everything the bull by the horns, so to speak, and is going forward. And so, what's my next move on the coaching side of it? Now, I haven't signed her as a client. She hasn't paid me or anything like that. Um, and I'm okay with that because the time that I invested in this person obviously is paying off.
Right.
So, and I know there's coaches out there. There's people. Well, what did you get out of it? What I got out of it is the satisfaction of knowing I have a family on their way to financial freedom
Right.
because of the coaching and guidance and direction I gave them.
Right. And it's validation. And there's the satisfaction. It's kind of like watching your kids grow up
Yep. Yep.
and become their own adult human beings.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Right.
It's like, oh, they did hear. Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. They did listen. Yeah. Yeah. It is, and it's one of those. When you see those success stories, um, and I'm thinking about some of the coaches that I've worked with one organization, and on the financial side, and they would be railing on me right now because I didn't get a signed contract for X amount of dollars, yada yada yada. And,
Right.
what are you doing? Well, um, that's the problem when people come to me on the financial side of it. When they first come, they cannot see enough light to be able to hire a coach.
Right.
And so I guess the way I'm looking at it now, this is along with the changes in the past, I would have said to both of these two potential clients, I would have said, "This is the program, boom, boom, boom. This is the cost," and done the sales side of it. But I
Right.
didn't do that with either one, and I really believe that both of them will eventually be on the success side. Will I be able to sign both of them as clients? I don't know, possibly. But neither one of them are at the point where they should be paying for a financial coach, right? Um,
Right.
because they're just getting on their feet and uh, basically, uh, you throw another bill at them, right?
Right.
There's one
Right.
organization out there that, in order to coach for this organization, you have to basically tell the people you need to destroy your credit cards, no credit, no to do. And to a certain extent, I agree with that. On the other hand, um, I would venture to say if I got 100 of those coaches in the room and I said, "How did your people pay you?" They would all look away because they probably put it on a credit card.
Of course, because everything's online now.
Yep, yep. And so,
It's not like they're sitting in their office writing a check.
right, exactly,
Do people
exactly.
even know how to write checks anymore?
Oh my God, I don't know. I don't know. I was sitting here. I have one of my. I have a, a worthless, for back of a better term, homeowners association that I live under right now, who has an even more worthless billing company for the water and sewer. I can't pay online. Now I've been trying to do it since September, and they can't get their stuff together. So I have to find a check. I actually had to order checks because I didn't have any.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the credit union doesn't charge me, and except they did charge for shipping, so it's like $6. But anyway, um, uh, and honestly, I don't know where I put them. They're here somewhere in this office, but I have to write out a check for like $42. I should be able to just jump online, get into my account, and pay it.
Yes.
You know, but yeah, I don't know if people know how to write out checks anymore. It's um,
Plus, you have to get in the car and drive over there, or you have to mail it, or you have to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. And the other thing is you have to know cursive to sign your name.
Well, I used to think that, but so many people I know, their signatures are printed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now that I think about it, I think
It's
about it.
just it's just how you write your name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. And whatever you put on the signature card at the bank, mine don't even match.
I was
But
gonna say I don't even know that they compare anymore.
yeah, they don't. I don't think. I
I
think
don't know
there's
that they ever
there's
did. I broke my
um,
hand, my wrist one year, and
yeah.
I went to the bank and I said, "Do I need to do another signature card because I can't use my right hand right now?" And they said, "No, we'll let it go." I'm like, so anybody could just.
Yeah, I had a funny one. My first wife worked in a bank, and my checks came in the mail at this time. So you know how long ago that was. We were in Wyoming, and they were coming from Oregon, and yada yada yada. Anyway, um, she just grabbed the mail and basically signed my signature. She had permission to do so up until the time we started having problems. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, So she would sign the checks and deposit them. And for some reason, one day I was off. I went to the bank to deposit my check. And the teller comes back with the signature card and says, "I'm sorry, sir, this signature doesn't match." I'm like, what? What do you mean the signature doesn't match? That's my wife back there. And about that time, Dorothy turned around and she said, "Yeah, that's his check. Deposit it." So it's like, okay,
And you know,
whatever.
the thing is when you deposit it, they don't even care. It's if you try to take money out
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they want it to match.
yeah. I have had clients tell me, um, so they've had a third party try to pay a bill for them. And for some reason, utility now probably not now, but I know utility companies, it was an issue. Um, uh, I'm trying to pay this bill for so and so,
Yeah.
and well, do you have are you authorized on the account? Are you this? Are you that? Are you whatever? To me, it if I had somebody call me up and say, "Hey, I want to pay this client's bill," okay.
As
How are
long
you
as
going
it
to pay it?
clears, I'm good.
Right. As long as it clears, I don't care. So, um, and um, but yeah, it's just one of those. If you're depositing or what I mean, and now I don't know. Yes, I did. I actually deposited a check from a client um, because his wife does everything on the bill pay through the bank. So I actually get a physical check.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and uh, I usually just scan them and go, right? Well, I
Yeah.
had I had two of them sitting on my desk, and I'm like, once I deposit them, I usually fold them and put them away until everything's cleared, and then I destroy them, right? And it was sitting on my desk, but it wasn't folded, but it was signed. Did I deposit this or not? So anyway, I have a better system now. But and the thing is that I had not deposited that one, but I deposited the one before and the one after. And so, and the lady at the bank just laughed at me. She was like, so I had to go in because I didn't want to
Well, you don't want to try
like
to look like it's
deposit it. Yeah,
fraud. Yeah.
right, right. And she laughed at me. So, uh, but even in that, the client doesn't write out the check. The bank does.
Yeah.
And they just generate it electronically and send it, and I'm okay with that. Um, but the thing is that now everything is done so much online and electronically that I think the banking industry has lost a huge part of their customer service. Um, I don't know what word I want to use for it. Ability, their ability to take care of their clients.
I don't think that there's a lot of that interpersonal interaction that there used to be.
mm,
Um,
no, so much of it anymore, and it's not just banking.
yeah, but I know half the time when I go into the bank, there's always a new teller because I don't
Yeah,
go in that often.
yeah. So I've got uh, I use one bank for my business and one bank for personal. I wish they were right next door to each other, but they're not. And so, um, and the bank I use for business, same people. They have had one teller turnover in the last 3 years, and or 4 years that I've been with them, and maybe even longer than that. But and that was uh, the young lady went back to school and some sort of financial services. Anyway, she's doing really well. But the lady that replaced her is still there and been there for a couple of years now. And when I walk in, I go, the branch manager's office is right there. The business manager's office is right there. The bank vice president is there. And which is why a lot of times I go to the drive-through, or if it's checked, I deposit on the phone because it's going to take me too long to get out of there. But but they definitely have a customer first attitude. So,
Right.
um, and the other is a credit union, and you know, so much turnover, right?
And when we're talking about changes, I think young people are more open to changing.
Yeah. Hmm.
And the thing is as we get older, we should still be open to change.
Right. We should be.
Um, because we kind of were talking earlier, and there are things that I want to keep working on, but the urgency isn't there right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And before, I think I would have just tried to keep plugging through, like, I needed to find the urgency.
Mhm.
And I don't think I need to do it that way.
Yeah.
Um, I will get to what I need, when it's time for me to keep moving forward, I will,
Hmm.
because I'll get that sense of urgency again. But I think right now I'm just kind of in a place where, gosh, it's kind of nice if I
Right.
don't have
Right.
to. I mean, I spent the weekend doing very physical yard work, which I have not been able to do in a very long time.
Yeah.
And that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The weather was
Yeah.
perfect. It was beautiful out. And,
Yeah.
and I I was at Home Depot like 5 times. Just kept going
Yeah.
back. It's just down the street.
Yeah. This time of the year in the Intermountain West can be hit or miss,
Yeah.
but when it's nice, it's nice.
It's beautiful. And my allergies aren't as bad. I mean, the cottonwoods are blooming, but usually, which means usually I end up shutting off
Yeah.
the windows, but I still got the windows open. And part of, I think, my change is I'm going to step back and just kind of take time to appreciate
Mhm.
the different facets of what's going on in my life and the different choices that I have.
Right.
I think sometimes when you take that sense of, I was in survival mode for so long.
Mhm.
It wasn't like I was making choices. Choices were mandatory,
Mhm.
you do what you got to do. And it's kind
Right.
of
Right.
nice when you can get to a point where you don't necessarily have to.
Yeah. 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 It is nice. Yeah.
even,
Yeah. And I
even if
think,
it's just for a couple of days.
yeah. Yeah. I've, uh, I've gotten to a place it's funny. Somebody asked me the other day, um, where I'm at, uh, on my writing, and the book that I'm working on. And so I haven't written anything in a while. And so what came back around to me, here's the thing um, that came back around to me, is that it's been almost 10 years, almost 10 years since I started it.
Wow. Yeah.
And and it has developed into something a little bit different. Um, because when I started it, it was, um, well, I was in a much different place. My
Yeah.
father was still alive, and it's based on basically the wisdoms and the things that I got from my dad, and the leadership lessons, the life lessons, and all that kind of stuff. And most of the stories, um, there's some serious ones, but some of the stuff he did was just so funny. And I look back on it now, it's like, um, you know, uh, It just it just makes me laugh. It's just like so. Uh, and this is crazy. Uh, I would say if my dad had ever been diagnosed, he was probably on the spectrum. Okay,
Okay.
probably more on the Asperger side of it. Some of the stuff that he could remember and come back with are like, "Are you kidding me?" You know,
You're
and some
taking
of the
that's taking up space in your brain.
yes, 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 it is. And the work that he did, he was an electrician, but he was a nuclear electrician, nuclear submarines.
Wow.
And he would go after it. Uh, um, but buttering bread or putting mayonnaise or peanut butter, whatever you're putting on your bread. Um, One of the first things that he said to my wife, and he had barely known her at that point in time, and she's remembered it, and it's one of the stories, um, is that how much he um, did not like it when people didn't take the peanut butter all the way to the edge of the bread. And so, we talked about that. My wife and I talked about that. I don't know. It's been over a year ago, and I started taking lunches and stuff like that to work because it's a lot less expensive. And every time I get up in the morning, it's like I gotta take that all the way to the edge. So, but but things like that,
Yeah.
um, then it just it makes you remember. And so you know and there's some serious ones and stuff like that, and I always remember my dad's famous quote and the Bible verse that he loved the best, and I look back now in the situations that he used it. um it would irritate me,
Yep.
but he was right. He was just totally right. And because that Bible verse is all about attitude and your heart. And so um uh I, you know the sister of one of my students years ago, who he asked me, he says, he looked at me and he said, "You're writing a book. I know you have it in you. When are you going to be done? What's your deadline?" But at that point in time, I told him by the time I'm 65. So I've been working on it for almost 10 years. So, but his sister actually reached out just in the last 2 or 3 weeks and said, "Hey, how are you guys doing?" Um, and then a couple of questions that are like, okay, I'm going to get asked about the book. so, so it's one of those. Um, I need to get after it. So anyway, um, but
And that might be part of the
yeah,
time of change for you right now is going back and revisiting
hmm hmm
and
yeah,
gathering those stories and putting all that together.
yeah, yeah, and that's it. And I probably have three lists of stories that and then okay, do I put this story in? Do I not put that story in? And I overthink it. I know I overthink it,
Well,
and
put down everything you're thinking and then you
yeah,
can go through and
yeah,
winnow. But,
yeah.
you got to get it out there first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't do any good stuck in my mind. But yeah,
No.
this whole scene, and I could go through probably half a dozen people or more right now. No, two of the guys that I work with, I mean, really good friends, started working with them at the port and stuff like that, and they're both in seasons of change, and things are starting to heat up for them, and some of the people that I supervise down at the port, and what they're going through is like. Um, uh, they for some reason I'm the one they come talk to, but um, do they want to stay? Do they want to go at this stage of life? We have a lot of folks that I work with that are um, retired but are still working, and do they want to? A lot of them are doing it just to stay active, but do I want to stay? Do I want to go? Do I want to find something else? And so the more I look at it, I think that this is there. I think there's a huge season out there now for where people are looking to make changes.
I think so. And it's also that time of year of graduations and
Yeah, yeah.
people starting something new.
Mhm.
Friend of mine, her and her partner are starting a business together
Okay.
because the work that they both do is, it's not the right season for it right now. And so they're going to
Yeah,
do this as something to fall back on. And it's something that both of them are pretty knowledgeable in. So it's not like they're
okay.
trying to learn something new to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
But, you know, I think a lot of us are very uncomfortable with change. And
yeah,
if we learn to
yeah.
embrace change, it opens up so many more possibilities.
It does.
You
It
know,
does.
we shouldn't have to be where our back's against the wall and we don't have any choice but to make some changes.
Right.
We should embrace because change can be very exciting. Yeah, it can be frightening, but
But
it's also very exciting, especially if you
right.
get
Yeah.
to have some choices.
Yeah. 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 I um I have grandkids and great grandkids now. The great grandchild only changes she can make is her diaper, but uh so um but
That's a
you know,
start.
yeah, uh grandson, I know we've talked about him before. He's an excellent welder up there in Wyoming still and stuff like that. And he's decided to go in the medical field, go into nursing.
Yeah,
Um, and he's, I mean, he's young enough. Make that change, Um, and I look at the grandkids, and I have one grandson who is in a huge season of change, just graduated high school. So many opportunities and options for them, you know.
right.
And it's like you said, when we graduated, when we went to the workforce, we were looking for that lifetime job.
That lifetime career.
Yeah. And you get with the company, you stay with them, and and that's not the case anymore.
No, and even if you stay in the same field, you want to leave your options open to the next best thing.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not just jumping from job to job because the pay, you know,
Right.
there's a lot of that happens, and that's disruptive,
Yeah.
not just for the organization, but for your family life as well,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know. But when you think about it, a lot of folks, there's been a lot of layoffs again, but that
Hmm.
doesn't mean that there's not opportunity.
Right. Right.
Um, a lot is the mindset you take into that. And I know that's hard, but when I got laid off all those years ago, I was just mad that they beat me to the punch
Oh,
because
that's funny.
I knew, there were things going on that I was not aligned with, and I
Mhm.
was looking for work, and they laid me off
Yeah.
before I had the opportunity to find something, and they fired everybody else.
Yeah.
And I told Jeff, I called him in a panic because, by the time they escorted me out and I met him for lunch, I was already feeling much lighter because I
Hmm.
wasn't happy there.
Right. Right. Mhm.
The environment was not in alignment with what
Mhm.
I needed. And I was doing the best I could for them, but it wasn't what they wanted.
Yeah.
And I wasn't
Yeah.
going to give them what they wanted because it wasn't
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Right.
I drew my line in the sand,
Yeah.
and it ended up leading to one of the best jobs I'd ever had. So,
Yeah. And sometimes you have to do that. I mean, um, it's time to leave, and I believe sometimes God forces our hand,
mhm.
and it's like, okay, my plan for you was to be out of here, and you're not, and so slam the door shut, and
Yep.
and
Y-
kick you out before you slam the door, and so. so that then we have to make a change. And so,
Right.
we have choices, and to be able to roll with the punches and make the changes that need to be done. I have a grandchild who is looking to make changes, but he just won't. And so I'm concerned that just like you say, he's going to get laid off, going to get let go, do whatever to where he has to. And so, um, okay, um, I've talked to you about it already. And you should be making plans. You should be, doing whatever. But sometimes you can't get that through to people.
Well, and I think the realization has to come from within.
Yep. Yep.
And, like the changes I had to make after Jeff's illness, after my illness, after he passed. And sometimes we do our best when we're in those situations because we don't have any other choice.
Yep. Mhm.
Now, it took me a while to get there after Jeff passed because he had me taken care of. So I had the luxury, if you want to call it that, to sit at home and feel sorry for myself. And if that hadn't been the case, I probably would have had to, face things more upfront. But,
Yeah.
I was getting his pension and I was still had my health care and I could sit
Mhm.
there and wallow in my self-pity. And I probably mentally would have been in a better place if I had been forced to look out for things differently than I did.
Mhm.
That's not now going back, I wouldn't change it because everything happens for a reason,
Right. Right.
but I think the mindset that we have when these things come up makes a huge difference in how we move forward. And even if we don't like change, we can't avoid it.
Right. It's
Change
inevitable.
happens all day long. The sun
Yeah.
moves,
Yeah.
or we move,
Yeah.
and the sun, you know,
Right. Right. Right.
goes
So
from.
I read something the other day, and the reason I even remember it is that um, is because it had to do with changes in our bodies. So every 7 years, all your cells have been replaced, and I'm
Right.
like, okay, then why do I still have congestive heart failure? Why do I still have AFib? If you're replacing the cells, you need to replace them with better cells.
It's like, so why don't I look 7 years younger?
Right, 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 right. But I understand the biology behind it and everything else.
Right.
But it's also one of those. Um, uh, I should be feeling better. So anyway, on the other hand,
Changing the wrong ones.
yeah, yeah. On the other hand, the congestive heart failure and AFib came about in 2022. So I still have a couple more years to go before maybe
before
those cells.
before maybe all that sheds
Yeah,
itself.
gets replaced, right? So,
Yep.
but yeah, change is inevitable, and we just need to adjust and do what needs to be done. I think that, uh, like I said, everybody around me seems to be in a season of change, and so, folks, if that's your where you're at today, and you need somebody to talk to about, you want some coaching through a life change or through a job change. Maybe you're moving into a season where you're going to have to take care of somebody, and so you need to be able to take care of yourself. That's self care. Uh, um, uh, that's Linda's area of expertise. So I would encourage you to reach out to us. We'll put our email in. Um, the comments. It's balancingact 2024 at gmail.com. Reach out to us and we can definitely help you there. And I don't know if Gerald Jacobs is still on, but Gerald, if you're there, I haven't seen you or heard from you in a long time. Gerald is He was a realtor, an author, wrote an amazing novel about this area, the Tampa Bay area, and everything from the rum running cigars and stuff like that. Called, I believe it was called The Monk, and it is on Amazon. Great read. It's a novel, but
Oh,
I
that sounds
seen he left.
awesome.
Yeah, he left a little smiley face or something up there. So, um, I, but like I said, balancing act 2024 at gmail.com. If you want to talk to Linda or I, reach out to us. We'll get right back to you.
You
Linda, you
bet.
got anything else?
No, that's just it. We're here for you because we're blessed to be able to do that. So
Yep.
let us let us know how we can help you out.
Right. Yep. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.